Okay, welcome and a very good morning to you all, children. So, for the programming session number 5, actually, session number 4 we are doing. So, slide number 5. So, let's see what we have for today's session, right? So, in today's lesson, we're going to talk about, we just finished the recap. Only thing is, which is not got recorded, that's fine. So, today we're going to talk about control flow statements. Okay, control flow statements. I will explain you what do you mean by control flow statements and why we need them and where we can use them. Like, so some scenarios and some occasions I will give you, and sample pseudocodes will be discussed, and based on the sample pseudocodes I will be asking questions also for you to get trained on them and solving problems, and make sure that you correctly do the tasks, correctly in the sense promptly do the task and upload to the Edmodo, so I can keep up with the correction process, and if there are any mistakes happening I can comment on that. Okay. We're going to talk under control flow statements. We're going to learn what it is, then comparison operators I'm going to show you. I think maybe last week we have just discussed about what do you mean by is greater, is less than, things like that. So under here I'm going to talk about that. Selection statements, they are type of control flow statements. There are 3 types of selection statements we will be learning, which is if with else, if with else if part. These 3 things we will be listening and learning. Different examples will be discussed. I can't promise you that today's lesson itself we can cover the whole slideshow, because it takes some time for us to do the tasks as well. Then when it comes to the final part, which is repetitions, also called loops or iterations. So doing a task again and again and again, that kind of programs also we can do, which is called repetitions. Okay, right. So when it comes to control flow statements, you can see to the right of you there is a picture which is displayed, and you can see there are around 5 roads actually coming to a junction. Imagine if you are a person walking from this road up to here, walking from here up to here. Once you come to this junction, actually, if I ask you, can you go at the same time all the directions at a given time? Can you go in all the 5 directions? Keep your microphones switched on, children, so we can put it to a discussion form, right? My simple question is, once you walk into the junction, can you walk in all the directions? Hello?
No, sir.
No,
No, sir.
oh, you can't walk in all the directions, right? So once you come to this point, based on a condition or based on your preferences or based on your requirement, you're going to choose a route and you're going to walk. Let's say you're coming in this route, and actually this is your house, you want to go. So you will simply take a right turn from there, not this right, you will take this right and you will straight away go there. Let's say none of these things you're going to choose, you're coming from here, you want to go straight, so you'll go there. So once you come to this junction, you are making a choice, you are making a decision whether to choose this path, this path, this path, or this, which means you have 4 options given. You have 4 options with you. Out of that 4 options, you will choose only one option, which path you're going to choose. So this is a very simple example in real life what we do, right? I just took this one because this will make sense when we are writing our programs, right? So let's keep this idea in our mind and we will move on, because we do a lot of decision making when we are doing our programs, right? I think last week I was just explaining you, and I was telling you about that opening the door part and all. I explained, you can remember in the class I was showing you that if the door is already open, like, you don't have to open it once again and walk through that. If the door is already closed, then you will do operation like open the door then walking out. I think you can remember that. All right, let's move on to the next slide and see what we have. Right, so when you take control flow statements, they can be basically divided into 2 categories, right? So one is called selection statements. The other one is called repetition statements. The basic difference between these 2 are, if you take a repetition statements, they will do one or more tasks, okay, or one or more instructions, most often again and again and again and again. Based on the condition, it will keep on doing the task. it will keep on continuing. Okay, that is type of called repetition statements. So we're going to learn that one at the latter part of this slideshow, which means latter part of this session. That means the control flow statements. The last part we're going to learn about repetitions. I will teach you how to do them and what we're going to do. Actually, we are learning about while loops. We still have in Java while loops, so we're going to directly use them in the coding as well. If we take the programming language, there are different types of repetition structures available you can use. For example, while, do while, for each. These are types of repetition structures. So when we are doing Java programming, we're going to learn all of them, but in pseudocode we're going to learn only while loops. Okay, coming back to the selection part. When you talk about the selection, basically what we say is, what is a selection means, if there are choices given to you, out of that you're going to choose one. Right? So let's assume that I have two tennis balls with me. One is a green color one is an orange color one. I ask you, pick a ball of your preference. That means whatever the color that you like, you can choose one ball. So the condition is either of these balls, and I have two balls, but out of those two balls you can choose only one ball. Let's say your favorite color is green, so you go for the green ball. That means you are choosing out of the two balls, you are choosing the green color ball. So so that means you are making a decision. Let's say you're walking into a shop again. Let's say there are different types of soft drinks. Now you feel thirsty and you thought of having a drink now. So there are different types of soft drinks options available for you. So I'm not going to say any names here because I will be publishing this one in the YouTube. So I'm not going to say any brand names. So let's say first brand, second brand, third brand, fourth brand, fifth brand. You can imagine whatever the brands that you have. So out of them you're going to choose one type of brand which you like. If you have 4 options given to you, 4 types of soft drinks are available, you're going to choose one out of them and you're going to buy and you're going to drink. So that you are making a decision, right? So you're making a decision what to do out of a choice. Normally out of a choice you go for a option which is normally known as a selection statement. Okay, right? So that is the basic idea. So we're going to properly learn this one in this lesson, right? So if you do have any doubts, feel free to talk to me during the session. No worries, just say excuse me, then you can ask the doubt. I would much appreciate if you'd ask doubts rather than a normal continuously doing a session or a lecture session as usual what we do in the class. Let's make it little bit more interactive. Alright, let's continue the lesson then. So this is what I was telling again. This is a definition given to you children. Selection statements. So executes an instruction or set of instructions based on a condition. So which means only if the condition is true. So you're going to execute means you're going to do it. One instruction or more than one instruction, but the criteria or the condition what you're checking for should be true. So in that occasion you can do this one. So without further delay, let me directly take you to the session. Children, so actually I'm going to train you. All of you know that we are running with a time. So we're going to we're going to write some programs straight away. We're going to write some pseudocode straight away. So for that reason I'm taking over there. That means some more new terminology will be introduced to you. So for example, in this slide what you see is there are 2 words that you're learning: operators and operands. So properly in this slide or in this lesson you're learning about operators and operands, which means now all of us we know that A and B are 2 variables. Variables means memory locations, because computer programs, by the time they run or by the time they are getting executed, all the instructions are there in the computer's memory. So only instructions are not enough to do tasks. Only instructions are not enough to do the work. We need to have things called data items, or we need to have things called variables where we can store the values. So once we can store the values in places, we can do other operations. That's the reason why we make use of variables or data items. So A and B are two variables, like memory locations, where we are storing two values, 40 and 10. A is representing 40, B is representing 10. So in line number 3, if you say, let's forget about this space, A is getting added with B, which means A is a variable or a data item which is actually representing the value now 40, because you stored the value 40 here. B is another variable which is representing the value 10 now, because we stored the value 10 here. So this line is equivalent to writing 40 plus 10, because A is 40, B is 10. So that I hope you understand. This A plus B part, if we take this, we say it is an expression, right? So let me tell you something like this. Now if you write something like this, 8 plus 2 multiplied by 3, according to the Bodmas theory, we know that multiplication will happen first, which means 2 into 3 will happen first, which becomes 6. 2 into 3, 6. 6 plus 8 will happen next, which the answer becomes 14. So this is a mathematical expression which evaluates to, or which results in a value which is 14. I hope you understand this. So if you take this mathematical expression which I have written here, it is written using some symbols like this. There's a plus mark is there, there's a multiplication mark is there, and there are three figures I have given, which is an 8, 2 and 3. These 8, 2, 3, they have special names. Those are the ones which are called operands, because without having operands like this, you cannot do a calculation. Okay, let's continue. I was speaking about this mathematical expression and about this special things that you see as symbols in between. So these special symbols are the ones which are called operators or operator. Actually here only a mathematical operator that you see. There are a lot of types of operators, and there are a lot of operators also. For example, if you take mathematical or arithmetic operators, you have addition, you have subtraction, you have division, you have multiplication, as well as you have something called modulus division. I will teach you about modulus division later. So there are 5 mathematical operators under arithmetic operators, types of operators. Okay, so we will slowly do these things. Okay, so our task is here to understand what is operator, what is an operand. So operators are the special symbols used in expressions. Based on the expression, it will produce a result. An operator uses its operands and performs the relevant operation. I'll repeat it once again for you. An operator uses its operands and produces a result, or produces an output. Okay, further we will talk about that in this line. So there is another operator that you see here, which is the assignment operator. What do you mean by assignment operator? Assignment operator means, you know, earlier we were talking about these cardboard boxes because to refer to the memory locations. So if you had a memory location called answer, and after adding A and B together, which means 40 plus 10, the answer is actually 50, obtained answer is 50, and when you say answer is assigned the value of 50, you are asking the computer to actually store the value of 50 inside this memory location. That's what is happening. Is that clear? Right? So that is what this line is doing actually. So when you ask the computer, answer is assigned the value A plus B, so value of A and B are getting added together using this operator. So A and B are operands, plus mark is the operator, result is obtained, which is 50. That 50 is getting stored in the variable which is answer. That is what is happening in this particular line. So then what happens is, after that, display answer is there. That this part we already know. Display is an output command. So when we say display answer, it will give you a result. So answer, actually it will display the output as 50. So this is what we discussed in this slide. So two things we understood: one is operator, one is operand. Operators are the symbols like this, operands are the values that it uses to perform the operation. So those are the two terms that we need to keep in mind. Right, any doubts, children? Yes, Buddha, tell me.
In if statements, can you do like more than two conditions?
Yes, of course, Buddha. We will be doing more than one, or we can do a lot of things. The thing is, slowly we're going to learn them. You are referring to a lesson, or you are referring to a part called logical operators. So when I talk about the logical operators, I will talk about that. Right? We will do that
Okay,
part.
sir.
Okay, right, cool. Right, anything else? Anything else related to operators and operands? Did you understand anything? Do you have any doubts?
No, sir.
Seems no doubts from people, right? So let's continue. If you do have doubts, please don't hesitate to ask. Okay, right, fine. Right, give me a moment. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Right, we're going to learn first a type of operators, because in this lesson we're going to learn about control flow statements. Especially we're going to learn how to write if conditions. So we're going to learn how we can write conditions, how we can make the computer make decisions. So there are ways that we can make the computer do work. So we're going to learn how to write the instructions. Okay, don't take much time, quickly answer this question. When we talk about the comparison operators, they are also called relational operators. Comparison, that means comparing means what? Comparing in Sinhala we say සංසන්දනය කරනවා නේද? එහෙම නේද? Is that correct? Dulang?
Yes.
Yes. එකක් සංසන්දනය නෙවෙයිද? Dulanga, Pata, is that correct? Compare.
Yes, yes, correct.
Right. In Tamil, what we say is oppidudal. Right. So if you take, there are two easy question is asked there. Which animal is taller? It's very simple to answer, isn't it? So which animal is taller? I don't think you see a rabbit in the picture. What are the two pictures?
Giraffe.
Giraffe and a tiger.
Giraffe and a tiger, or giraffe and a dinosaur? Okay, giraffe and a tiger is there, right? Okay, the thing is, if you would have seen these things at least in this zoo, or at least in a Discovery Channel, like you'd have seen this one. So the giraffe, if you take, that's the tall, that one tall animal, isn't it? So
Yes.
very simply how you do that is, for example, compare means, if I ask you which one is taller, you compare the height of this particular animal with the height of this particular animal, which means like this. Let's assume the height of this animal is let me take the drawing tool, right? The height of this animal is, let's say, around 12 foot. The height of this animal, which is, let's say, only 5 foot. So by looking at these two figures, it's very simple to say that 12 is a larger value than 5, right? 12 is a larger value than 5. But actually here your brain is doing the height comparisons, and it is doing the things. Okay, it's doing the work for you. So if you write this one in a format like, can you all keep your mics muted? 12 is greater than 5. If you write something like this, 12 is greater than 5, this will say yes or no, true or false. Okay, 12 is I'm saying 12 is greater than 5. Let's see, same operands, 12 is there, 5 is there. I'm going to say 12 is smaller than 5. 12 is smaller than 5. So this is 12 is more than 5. This operation will give you the answer as true, whereas this operation will give you the answer as false. because the type of operator that we are using here is different. I'm saying 12 is a large value than 5. Yes, it is true. 12 is a smaller value than 5. No, it is not true. It's false. Right? So these kind of operations are needed. So we need to learn these things. So in order to do the work, right? Let's understand that. Right? Okay. Let's go to the next slide then see what we have. Right, here I have given you the list of comparison operators. With the Java program, I will demonstrate these things in operation. No worries. So I will show you how they are working actually with the working program. Our thing is, when you are doing the pseudocodes, you can make use of these operators. No worries. Okay. So this is a list of operators. Later when you are taking down notes, it's better that you refer the slides and take down the notes. So after the class, I will be uploading these notes to Edmodo, so you can download it. Right. And right, so these are the list of the comparison operators. So we will see them, the meanings. First of all, this one, if you take, this is called the is greater. So left side is large side, open side, right side is a narrow side. So is greater operator. This one is left side is narrower, right side is larger. So this is called the is less than or is less operator. The next one is greater or equal to. I will show you some example. This one is less or equal to. This is, we are saying both values are same, that is equal to. For example, when we are comparing a password or something, we can make use of this. And here we are saying it is something is not equal to. Something is not equal to. So not equal to also you can do. For example, let's say you get into your bus and you want to get down in a particular hold. Let's say from Kandy you're getting in and you want to get down in Gampala. So from Kandy to Gampala, there are major cities or major places are coming. For example, starting from Peradeniya, then Gelioya, maybe Gampala. So let's say there are two major towns coming, Peradeniya and Peradeniya and Gelioya. There are two main bus holds, but you are not going to get down. So not equal to. Say for example, city not equal to Gampala, you can continue the work. City not equal to Gampala. So we'll say when you are in Peradeniya, imagine this, city not equal to Gampala. It is true. You can continue the journey. When you are in Gelioya, again you think city is not equal to Gampala. It is again true because the city is Gelioya. Still you have to go. But if you go to Navalapiti and think city is not equal to Gampala, if you continue, then you have keep on going. So you have to get into the correct bus and going to do it, because Navalapiti is coming after Gampala. If you think, if you are going from Kandy side, Navalapiti is after Gampala. Remember that. Okay, right, fine. Right, let's move on. Comparison operator example. Let's take a look at it very quickly and very easily. Let's try to understand. So all of you know what is a data item. This is a variable which is called here age. It could be called anything. For this example, we are taking it as age. So we are storing someone's age, which is 21. Age is stored as the value 21. So in age, we have put the value 21. So hereafter, whenever I am writing an expression, if I say age, please refer to the value 21, because 21 is the value which is stored inside the age variable. So in the second line, if you see the blue part which I have written, age is greater or equal to 18. We are comparing, we are checking, we are testing something. We are asking the computer age, which is 21, is it more than or equal to 18? So the computer will check the value in age and it will tell yes, it is true, no, it is not true, because according to the value, the age, this decision is going to made, right? So 21 is greater than or equal to 18. What do you think? Is it true or false?
True.
Hello?
True.
It is true.
True.
Very good. Right. So it's no confusion. You can understand that. Let's move on then. Right. So you understood this. Right. So here is greater or equal to is a comparison operator. Is a comparison operator. Right. Look at this one. So we're going to learn, children, the if statements, the pseudocodes, how to write them now. Okay. So in the beginning, you saw that here in the first slide I have said simple if with else, if with, else if I have said. That means there are three styles you can use the selection statements, because the occasions, the scenarios, the circumstances are different, so that you can make use of different type of if conditions. That is the reason why we have the simple if with else, if with else if part. So the more complex things when we are handling, we shall do it with this. When we are having very simple ones, we can do it with the if. So if you take this example, I have mentioned it where, imagine a situation, you check for something, you check for something. If the condition is true, if the criteria is true, you're going to do something. At the same time, when you check for something, the condition can be not true also, right? If it is not true, you are not doing anything. You are not doing anything. There are occasions like that. So if the condition is true, only we have to respond. So what we do is we simply do write instructions like this. There are quite simple, and some occasions are there we can come across like this. Out of that, I have taken one or two here, so we have to go a bit faster, children. So let's take a look at this program and try to understand this. So let's assume for a football match, we're going to buy tickets. Let's assume anybody who is above the age of 18 going to get charged 250 rupees. Less than 18 years old, we're not going to charge. Let's say for a strange reason we have the ticketing system like that. Okay, so if you take a look at this program, how it is written, you can see the very first line is a comment itself. Comment means it is a indication, or it is some small information about the program that you can write. Then first line, you can see we are starting the program, so which is start. Then what we have a variable or a data item which is called cost. You know, variables, they are very meaningful names. When we give, it is easy for us to read and understand the program. So cost I have taken, I didn't put the word ticket, I have put the word as cost, because we didn't take the decision yet whether to calculate a cost or whether not to calculate the ticket. I have initially put the value 0. Third line, we say input. You know what is the input command means? We expect the user to type a value. We expect the user to give us the value. To the computer, the user should type a value. I will demonstrate this in Java now, don't worry. It says enter your age. So the computer is asking you to put your age in. So you will type a figure, like for example, if you are 19 years old, if you are 20 years old, 21 years old, you will type your age there. Let's assume someone is typing 20. So age as 20. So the person who wanted to do this, he is typing the value 20, right? So you type in the value 20, right? So once they type 20, the program comes to the next line. This is the statement that you're learning today. So if, this is how you write the decision making statements. If, within parentheses, you write a condition like this. In order to build the condition, what we make use is this is greater, is less comparison operators, right? So we have to write something like this. We need to make sure the entered age is more than 18. So how to say that into the computer? Age is the value the user will type. Age is more than 18. Even if someone enters the value 18, it is going to be not calculated. 19 onwards only it's going to calculate. So here I have typed 20. So 20 is more than or is greater than 18. What do you think? Is it true or false? True or false?
True.
It is true. So when the condition is true, children, when this condition is true, we can do this task. So based on a condition, it will decide whether to do a instruction or set of instruction or not to do. So if we take the fourth line, which is the if condition, computer checks this. If it simply checks what you have given inside the parenthesis, it checks age is more than 18, then if it is true only, let's do that. So if it is true, it's going to set the cost to 250, otherwise it's not going to do anything. Let's assume, so the age that you entered was 20, so 20 was greater than 18, so the cost got set to 250. Program if conditions, when you start like this, this is the syntax that you should write. Okay, if parenthesis, then you have to write after the criteria, you have to write then finally every if part that you start, it should have a corresponding end if also. You are learning the syntax also, that's why I'm saying. Then next line is just a simple display command. Display charge is, we already have a variable called cost. Only thing, if this condition got true, the cost would have changed, because earlier I entered the value 0 there, we entered the age, then the computer did a checking part. It could be true. If the condition was true, cost would have changed to 250. So let's display the value and see. Charge is cost, so it will display the value whether it is 250 or 0. So let's test this one in a Java program. After that I'll give you 1 minute for you to type down this code, right? Let's do that. Everything is ready in my program. Let's start doing that. Right, let's do the work. We ask the user to enter the age. We capture the keyboard input from here. User will type a value. Then let's write the if part. So in Java, when you're writing the if part, you say if, open close parenthesis. Inside this, again you will build the condition. Age is greater 18. That is what the pseudocode says. In Java, you do not write the word then. There is no keyword called then in Java. So when you're writing if condition, you can write. So there is a reason why we write this curly braces. Later I'll tell you this reason for that. For the time being, no need. And Java, I'll teach you that. Okay. I'm going to say, sorry. So we're going to say cost is assigned the value 250. Then we will say output. Let's say ticket cost is cost, right. So it's a simple program. So let's run this program and see. Shift F6. Right, so the program is working now. So its program is asking you to enter the age. So I'm going to type the value as let's type a value, easy value, 25 value, right? So when you press the enter key, it says ticket cost is 250. Let's try another value. Let's enter a value like 18. 18. It says ticket cost is 0, because any value, any age which is more than 18 will get charged 250. Otherwise we are doing nothing. That's once more I'll execute the program. This time let's say a junior person comes, let's say his age is 6 years, no cost, right? So that is how it is programmed. So the same thing. So this piece we are making use in a real computer program. What we are learning in the pseudocode lesson, this is what we are learning, and we are applying that directly in the computer programming, right? So I hope you understand this, right? I'll give you 1 minute to take down this code very quickly. So then I will take exactly 1 minute. So take it down very fast. Let's go to the next slide and we will see another example here. This is I'm discussing some examples with you, so it's much easier for you to learn, right? So we'll save some time from there also. So the second example, if you take, now let's assume there's an employee who is doing sales. The company decides to give bonus, but in order to get the bonus, or in order to be eligible for the bonus, there's one criteria. The sales amount should be more than 500,000, right? So if the sales amount is more than 500,000, then only the person is eligible for bonus. So criteria is very simple. If the person is not having a sales value which is more than 500,000, there is no calculation needed to do any bonus calculation. So if you take a look at these two programs, they are very identical, very identical. So the same pattern we are following here, same pattern we are following, because when the condition is not true, that means I'm talking about the line number 4, which is the if part. If the condition is not true, we are not doing anything. So that is the style that we are learning. So we are having a very simple part. So simple if statement, you can see, without an else part. Okay, because when you check for something, condition can be failed also. Earlier also the condition was failing. For example, we are checking, is the age is more than 18. If your age is 10 years, then that condition is not true. That means you are not eligible for getting charged 250 rupees. You are getting the ticket as free. So in this one, we're going to again do that. Let's try to understand this program. We are starting the program. Before we do the calculation, we set the bonus value to 0. We set the bonus value to 0 because we did not start calculating the bonus. Right. Next line, as usual, we ask the user to enter the sales amount. So input command is there. Enter sales amount. Then the user will enter the sales amount. So once the sales amount is entered, fourth line, have a decision making line. So you can say if this can be true, this cannot be true. It totally depends on the sales amount that you're going to enter. So it says sales is more than 500,000. We don't know actually how much the user is going to type there. This is going to get decided. I hope you understand that. If sales is more than 500,000, then we say bonus, this value is assigned the value, your sales value, how much you entered, is getting multiplied by 5 divided by 100, which means 5%. So if we have done sales for 1 million, so 5% of 1 million, you can see how much it is. 5% you're going to get as bonus, right? 5% as bonus, right? These are just fake values. No one will give you 5%, okay, right? So but anyways it will happen, okay, right? Anyways it will happen. So the next line, we are stopping the if condition. Next line, we are displaying bonus amount is the bonus. What we calculated here will be displayed. Only if the condition was true, this line is going to get executed. Selection statement, whether to do this line or not to do this line. Computer is making a decision. It is making a selection here, whether to do this or not. Condition true, we do this. Condition not true, we don't do this. We don't bother about doing this one. Okay, so that's the style that we have done. Let me show you this program as well. After that you can take it down. Right, so in this program I'm going to let's take another program, right? To save the time, I will copy this piece. We'll say bonus calculation. I'll tell you the reasons why I put F and all later. That we will learn it in Java. We capture the input from the keyboard. We ask the user a label, enter sales amount. So the user will type a value. So whatever the user types in line number 13, we are capturing it. Let's assume he is typing 1 million. So sales value will have the value 1 million. So we ask the computer again, if we tell, okay, you check sales is more than 500, right? 500,000, right? If it is so, what to do? We need to calculate the bonus, because we have already set it to 0 here. We don't know if it is more than 500,000. We have to calculate 5%. So bonus is assigned the value. How do you calculate the 5%? For the sales amount that you have, sales amount getting multiplied by 5 divided by 100. So this is 5%, right? Okay, I have to put a F here, children. If I don't put a F here, answer will be 0. I'll tell you later. S out and say bonus amount is bonus. Okay, right? It's a tiny program, so let's test this one, see how it's working. Right, program is asking for you to enter the sales amount. Let's enter a value, 1 million. So this is 10,000, 1 lakh, 1 million. Okay, so the bonus amount is 50,000. Okay, 50,000 bonus that taking. Right, once again we will enter a different value. Let's say 750,000. So they get a 37,500 bonus. Let's enter a value which is less than 500,000. This time let's say 450,000. So 450,000 is definitely less than half a million, which means 5 lakhs. So bonus is 0 coming, because it is criteria is not met. He or she is not eligible for bonus. That's the reason why this line has not got executed. Is that clear, children? Right, let's go to the next slide and see. You can lower your hands, children. This is a task. Okay, this is a task that you have to do. There are little bit more tasks will be coming, because it's a weekend class now, children, as I told you. Now with today's class, 22 hours only another left. 4 classes gone means 8 hours gone from our 30 hours. So children, we will take a short time for this question, right? So this is a direct question, easy question. You can do this, right? So gross wage calculations and all you have already done. In this program we are simply asking you, I will explain the question, then take about 5 minutes, do this question. After that I'll show you the answer. Let's continue. What it says is, this question is saying, I will explain the question, then you can do the pseudocode. Okay, write a pseudocode to accept the value, that means hours worked and hourly rate of an employee from keyboard. An employee is working for a company, so you are entering how many hours worked and how many per hour, how much you are paying. Those two figures you are entering from the keyboard. Find the gross wage. Find the gross wage. You know what is the gross wage? These general things we need to know. Gross wage means directly if you multiply the hours worked by per hour how much you are paying, that will give you gross wage without any deductions. That is what you mean by the gross wage. So we are asking you, calculate 12.5% tax if the gross wage is more than 30,000. So simple. You need to multiply those two values and see whether the coming answer is more than 30,000. If it is so, you calculate 12.5% tax and you can display the 12.5% tax, right? Okay, take about 5 minutes, quickly do that. And you can, how are you going to say here privately? You can send me the chat, or you can even WhatsApp me, or oh yeah, you can WhatsApp me, right? It's easy. Or else take a snap of it and WhatsApp me. I'll quickly check it. Right, once again getting recorded. Let's move on. We will do the task now. This is the question. I will use the notepad and do it first. Then I will do it a Java program. Okay, right. Let's say question 3. If it is our question 3, we have to start the program. Every program that we start should end. So start, stop should be there. Then we need to ask the user to input 2 things basically. One is input enter hours worked. So I'm going to take that one as HW. Then I can say input enter hourly rate. we can put that on as HR. If we know the hourly rate and hours worked, you can simply find the gross wage. We have already done this. So gross wage is assigned the value hours worked multiplied by hourly rate. So see, this is a symbol that you have to use, asterisk, not this one. This is not correct. You have to use this one. Now you know the gross wage. The question is asking, see whether it is more than 12.5%. So you have to write a if condition. So most of you, the answers that you showed, if condition, you correctly wrote it, okay? If gross wage is greater, it doesn't say greater than or equal to, greater than 30,000. It's a pseudocode. You should write the word then, right? And if so, inside this, what we can do is we need to do 12.5% calculation of tax. So up here itself, I can define tax as 0 if you like. In your exercise book you can't do, I can do it in the soft copy. So you say tax is assigned the value whatever the gross wage is getting multiplied by 12.5%. So 12.5%, how to write? So very simple, you just write within parentheses 12.5 divided by 100, or it is also equivalent to writing 0.125. Either way is fine. So I would like to write like this. So within parentheses 12.5 divided by 100. This is 12.5% you are calculating tax for the gross wage, right? So only if the gross wage earnings are more than 30,000, this is going to happen, otherwise no worries. Down here we are asking, I'm sorry, you can say display it's more better to write like this. Say gross wage most of you did like this. Correct answers, those people who did like this, very nice. So net wage, you can display the net wage. We didn't calculate that yet. So what we can do is, in order to calculate the net wage, we can simply write net wage is equals to, net wage is what? Once you do the deductions, what is the deduction that you can do from the gross wage? You can deduct the tax amount. You don't have to worry, because if your earnings are less than 30,000, this tax value is going to be 0. Once the tax value is 0, what will happen is, from whatever the value that you have, 0 will be deducted. So once 0 is deducted, no harm will be done, right? So this is the answer for your question, right? So I will post this in your chat window. Quickly take it if you want, right? So it's up to you, no worries. Anyways, it is getting recorded in the video. Now the next thing, I will explain this to you. Start the program. We get the two inputs from the keyboard, which are hours worked and hourly rate. It is not quickly doing a program, okay? It is correctly understanding the syntax, how this task can be solved, these kind of tasks in future how we can solve. That is why I'm trying to teach you this one. It is not merely doing this only this question. So by doing this question, we need to learn things. That's the point. Then children, tax we have not still calculated, so we set the value to 0. That's totally fine. Then gross wage we need to find first of all, to make sure what is the tax amount is, because if we find the gross wage only, then we can find the tax amount. So gross wage, how we can calculate? By multiplying the hours worked by hourly rate. These are just general knowledge, okay? If you are buying 5 items, each item is costing 100 rupees, means how to find the total cost? 5 multiplied by 100, which will give you 500. So this is common understanding how to do. This is not mathematics even. It's a tiny thing, okay? Right. So gross wage is equals to hours worked multiplied by hourly rate. So this will produce the hourly, the gross wage. Suppose this value was more than 30,000, then this condition is true. Otherwise, this condition is not true. If gross wage is more than 30,000, then we don't know, according to the gross hours worked and hourly rate you are entering, this is going to happen. I will demonstrate this with a Java program. then this calculation is taking place. Tax is assigned the value gross wage. How much was your earning? Let's say this is 50,000. So 50,000 is getting multiplied by 12.5%. So for 50,000 rupees, 12.5% will be calculated. If you have 1 million, for 1 million, 12.5% will be calculated. If your earnings are 25,000, how much will be calculated? 0, because 25,000 is a less value than 30,000. Okay, next, once you find the tax amount, it's very simple to find the net wage, because from the gross wage we can just simply deduct the value tax. So once you deduct the tax, what you get is the net wage. So these are three simple display commands: gross wage, tax amount, and net wage, along with the corresponding variables. So hope you understand this one. I'm going to demonstrate this using a Java program and execute and show you. Right, let's see how it's done. Oh, sorry about that. Right, hours worked, hourly rate we have from the keyboard. We are getting the inputs. Then what we do is we're going to find the gross wage. So int gross wage is assigned the value hours worked multiplied by hourly rate. So now we know the gross wage, we can find the tax amount. So we say if gross wage is greater than 30,000, if so, tax is assigned the value gross wage is multiplied by 12.5f so we don't know actually how much was that, so we'll say float net wage is assigned the value gross wage minus tax. Don't pay much attention to these things, just look at the calculations. These are as it is in the pseudocode, except for these semicolons and for these data types. I will teach you the data types in Java, don't worry. Now we have found the net wage also. Now we can go for the display commands. So we say gross wage seems the program. So this is not a big deal because few Java commands only that you need to learn. Once you learn the syntax, we can do that. Shift F6. Let's see how it works. So enter hours worked. So in order to make sure the program works properly, we will put 40. We'll put 40 hours. Then per hour we'll give 1000. So 40,000 will be calculated as the gross wage. So you can see tax is getting calculated, 5,000 is calculated for that, right? Net So you can see from 40,000, 5,000 deducted, 35,000 is getting paid as the net wage. Let's run once more. This time let's give 25. So hours worked is 25. Hourly rate, let's give 1,000 again. So you can see 25,000 is the gross wage, so which is not more than 30,000. So that means he or she is not eligible for that tax calculation. So entire amount is given as the net wage. So 25,000 itself given. Let's run once more. This time we will give 30,000. Sorry, 30 hours, 1,000 rupees. So gross wage is 30,000. Again the tax amount is 0, because if any value which is more than 30,000 only, we are calculating tax. So right, okay. That's cool. We can execute once more. For the final time we'll run once more. Let's put a small value and see. So 15 hours worked, per hour 750 rupees we are paying. So 11,250 was the total earnings, which is less than 30,000, so no tax. Okay, so hope you understand that, right? Okay, I gave you this this one also. Before the session finishes, make a copy paste to your notepad. In the chat window it is there, because once the session finishes, I think you cannot access this, right? All right, I'll post the recording. Any questions? Any further questions? Okay, we will talk about the next part. This is a little bit different from the previous one, but it is very easy to understand, because children, the example that we have taken is a very, very simple example. Any child can understand this one, because you know this is the most common situation we come across, because when we check for something, as I told you, the answer can be true. The criteria that you're testing or checking for, it could be true. At the same time, it cannot be true also. That means it has two sides. That is why we are making a decision whether to do this part or whether to do the other part, but not both. For example, if you take this scenario, a person is sitting for an exam for a particular subject, and they will score a particular amount of marks. Let's assume the pass mark is 50. Anybody gets 50 or above, only pass. 50 or above, only pass. In which case what will happen? If your marks is 75, definitely you get a pass. If your marks is less than 50, let's say you score around 15 marks, then definitely it's a fail. Now what's going to happen is, if I ask you, you enter the program 75 marks, the computer is displaying pass and fail. You enter the marks 25, pass and fail. Both outputs cannot come at the same time. Under no circumstance this can happen. So if you take a look at this statements that I have written here, you can see if marks is more than or equal to 50, this is simple, you can understand this. This is a criteria we have written. So this condition can be true, this condition cannot be true sometimes. It depends totally according to the marks that you're going to enter from the keyboard. Right. So let's assume you entered 60 marks. So 60 is greater than or equal to 50 is true. So simply you can display the value pass. Otherwise, now if the condition is not true, we are not going to simply stop the program. If the condition is not true, then also we're going to do something else. We're going to do something other than this. If the condition is not true, how do you say that if the condition is not true? We simply put an else part. We put an else part. In the else part, again we have written display fail. According to this scenario, according to this program, these are the two display commands I need. You can't write all the programs pass fail. This program specifically asks you to do that. In another program, you can do something else, right? So according to your program, you can make a decision and do the corresponding work. There will be other examples I will discuss with you. Right, let's understand this program further. So if the condition is not true, of course we have an else part. That's a new part that you're learning. In the else section, you write what should be done if the condition is not true. If the condition is not true. For example, let's assume the very first scenario that we took. Let's say you are going for a football match. Anybody who is above 18 will get the ticket as 250. Anybody who is less than 18 will get the ticket half. Let's say 100 rupees is the ticket. People who are less than 18 years, 100 rupees. More than 18 years, 250. Can or can't? We can do. Those are the two types of tickets that you have. Then you can do that. Very simple, right? So this is the type of decision making that we are learning. Second one, if with else part, if else statement. So I'm going to do it like this now. I'm going to show that one in a program. After that you can copy down, right? Let's close all these things which are not necessary. Let's call this one as pass fail pro. Now we have got the marks from the keyboard. We can do the checking. Let's watch this. If marks is greater than or equals to 50, don't write then, just write like this. Then you say S out, which is display command. You say pass. Otherwise, else, what are you going to say? Fail. So that's all the code that we have. So we're going to decide whether to do the line number 15 or line number 18 based on the condition which we have written on line number 14. If the condition is true, line number 15 will be done. Condition not true, line number 18 will be done. Let's give it a try and see. Right, it's asking for the marks. Let's enter this time 80 marks. So definitely output should come as pass. So no fail coming, only pass coming. Let's run again. This time we'll enter less value 40. Only fail coming, not pass coming. Both values not coming. So the computer is making a decision to do this or that. That is why I told you these are selection statements. Under selection statements, if statements we are learning. First we learned the simple if statements where we did not have an else part. Now we are learning section where it has a else part as well. In the else part, what we do or what we carry out is, if the condition is not true, then what to do? That is what we do. If the condition is not true, what we should do? That is what we are doing here. Alright, that's very simple to do. Okay, right. We will do some more interesting questions in the upcoming classes, right? So I'll give you about a 1 minute time. Take down this, raise your hand quickly. Zamil, you can lower your hand now. Let's take the final one for today, which is this one. A class task is given. Okay, so this class task I will post it in the Edmodo. You will do it after the class. Okay, after the class you do it, because then I can cover this one today and finish it off, because then I can set more questions today, children. So next week, as a recap, we can start from this question, then we can discuss this question as well, and maybe 2 or 3 more questions we can do in this one. Then you will be all right. Okay, fine. So this week you can I can keep you active by some questions. So this question I will post it in Edmodo, don't worry. One person please kindly remind me after the session. I'm going to, let's continue. Right, this task I will explain you, then I will move on. What it says is, write a pseudocode to accept the hours worked and hourly rate, the same as the previous one, so you know how to calculate the gross wage. Then it says, calculate 12.5% tax if the gross wage is more than 30,000. More than 30,000. Otherwise, that is what it says, which means in programming terms it means else. I didn't use the word else there. So otherwise, if your earnings or the gross wage is more than 30,000, 12.5% is the tax amount. Otherwise, that means in else part you need to calculate 9.5%. Officially I'll upload this to the Edmodo. You do it in the Edmodo. Okay, right. You can write it down on a piece of paper, take a screenshot, sorry, take a snap and attach, or you can just type it in there itself, or you can take a screenshot, type it in Notepad, take a screenshot and upload, or text file you can create and upload. Anything is fine, but don't upload any zip files. That's all. I don't download and check. Online I should be able to check. Okay, let's continue then. This task is coming online. After your class you do it. So we'll use the class time for the lessons. Let's do the last part. If with else if statement. If with else if statement. Before I teach you this one, imagine children, the very first slideshow that we had 4 paths. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when a person walks into this junction, he or she has 4 options to choose. Depends on whatever the reason or whatever the condition is, he or she will follow one path only. Okay, just like that, what we have is here what the scenario is, the same scenario. We will go one step forward, which means a person sits for an exam, he will score certain amount of marks, but here we are not going to simply say pass fail. Simply we are not going to say pass fail. We're going to decide the person's grade based on the marks. Grade, not pass fail only. So assume that more than 80 is a distinction, more than 70 is a merit, more than 60 is a pass, less than 60 is a fail. So there are 4 options: distinction, merit, simple pass, fail. Distinction, merit, simple pass, fail. 4 options are there. So when you have more than 2 choices, when you have more than 2 options to do, definitely you have to make use of if else if option. If else if option. Okay, the way you write this one in Java is slight different, but in pseudocode you have to write as I have shown in the slideshow now. Okay, let me show you that how it's done. That means this pseudocode, let's take a look at it. You can see line, I have given line numbers so I can easily explain you, that's all. So you don't have to write line numbers. This is I have put only for the explanation purpose. In line number 2 we start the program. Line number 3 we get the input from the keyboard, which is marks. No worries at all that, right? Line number 4, the first if condition is written. The first if condition is written. What we are checking is, we are assuming that the entered marks, it could be more than 80. So we don't know, we need to check and see. So what we do is, if marks is more than or equals to 80. See the comparison operators that we learnt, we are using them. Marks is greater than or equal to 80. Marks is greater than or equal to 80, then, which means this could be true. Assume that the person who scored 90 marks, a person has scored 90 marks. Then in line number 4, if 90 is greater than or equal to 80, 90 is greater than or equal to 80 is true, then it will do the line number 5, which means display distinction. Display distinction. See the rest of the code, line number 6, that says else. So in line number 4, what we start as the if part, you can see in line number 16 that if is ending if. If, end if. Line number 4, if. Line number 16, end if. Don't worry about the code which is written in between. I will come to that step by step. In the else part, we have some lines of code have been written. We are not interested in that because the condition is true. We displayed distinction. Else part, we totally skip that. We do not worry about this. We do not do this. So simply line number 5, display distinction, then program will stop. Why? Because this is true. Let's assume now the person is entering the marks as 75. 75. So imagine when you are coming to the line number 4, say this: if 75 is more than or equal to 80. 75 is more than or equal to 80 is not true. It's not correct. So this condition is not correct. This condition is not true. So you cannot do line number 5. Line number 5 cannot be done. So what you do is, because there are another 3 options are available. Though it is not more than 80, it could be more than 70, it could be more than 60, it could be more than the other values. So what we do is, we go to the else part. In the else part, we check again another if. See how clearly it is written. Under the if part, code is indented more, pushed to the right hand side more. What we are doing? If marks is greater than or equal to 70, marks is greater than or equal to 70, that is the criteria for merit. It should be 70 or above. Then if that is true, we can go to the line number 8. It says display merit. So this is a syntax also that you're learning in pseudocode. If that is okay, then line number, sorry, this piece will be skipped if this is true. If your marks is 75, this was not done, line number 8 is done, then else part will be skipped. Again program will stop. Right, now we will assume the marks that you are entering is 65. Come to line number 4. If 65 is greater than 80, no, can't do this. Else, yes, come inside. If 65 is more than 70, no, can't do this. Again, do we have a else part? Yes, we do have an else part. Line number 10, what it says? If marks greater than or equal to 60, this is true because the value is 65. If the marks is 65, this is true. Line number 11 can be done. So when you do that, pass will come. A person who scores 65 will get a pass. Now, the else part of the last if condition will be skipped. So fail will not be done. Program will stop. Not this, not this, not this, but this. This is going to happen. Now the last one. A person who scores 15 marks. 15 greater than 80? No, can't do this. 15 greater than 70? No, can't do 8. 15 greater than 60? No, can't do this 11 line. Which means pass is not there. 15 is not greater than 60. No, then final else part is there, which means any value which is less than 60. Any value which is less than 60 belongs to the final else part. Under this else part, what we have written, display fail. Whatever it is, it could be 1, it could be -5. Any value which is less than 60 is a fail. That's what we have done. That's how the program works. Okay, so that's the lesson that I wanted to teach you. I will upload this slide to the Edmodo children. No worries, you can take your time and take it down in your book. Before I wind up the class, let me demonstrate this program using a Java program. Then we will wind up for today. I will take about 1 minute doubt clearing or maybe a feedback. Okay, because you need to go for the class at 10:45. Right, here comes the NetBeans. Let's take, let's say, student grades. All these programs we are doing in Java again. Okay, you have to do this. Right, let's see how you can do this. Right, this program is going to be easy because so we input the marks in line number 11. Then we'll write if. How we write in Java code is different. Do not write like how I do it in Java when you are writing your pseudocodes. Please follow the pseudocode syntax for the time, right? Okay. If I can do it like this. If marks greater than or equals to 80. Now this time I didn't use the curly braces. Just to make the program short, I didn't use the curly braces. Distinction. In Java, when we are writing, we can write else if in the same line, which you do not do it in pseudocode. Please don't do this in the pseudocode, right? But I can demonstrate like this also, which will make the code more lengthy, and it is a bad practice in Java, so that I just don't want to show you that style, right? So marks is greater than or equal to 70. It's a merit. Sorry. Again, else if marks is greater than or equal to 60, it's a pass. Finally, the else you can say fail. So the same thing is there. We check for this condition. If not, then other condition. If not, another condition. If that is also not, the fourth option. If we have around 10 excuse me, if we have around 10 options, that's also can be programmed. So when we are taking up the class in the next session, we will address 1 or 2 questions in that pattern. So let's first of all run this program and see how it works. Right, it's asking for the marks. Let's enter 85 marks. It should be a distinction coming. This time we will enter 75. What is the grade? What's the grade? Merit coming, correct. Then we will enter the marks 65. Pass is coming. Then we will enter the marks something less. Fail is coming, right? So maximum marks that you can score for a subject is 100, but our program will accept 1500 also. 1500 will get a distinction. Actually, this is a invalid mark. The minimum marks the student can get is 0. Our program is accepting minus 25. This is a problem in your program. When I'm doing in upcoming classes, I'll show you how to fix these things or troubleshoot these things. Okay, for the time being, that is enough. Right, let's conclude the class from here. Let's take 1 minute of your recap or 1 minute of the feedback session. Okay, this is the recap. So all the programs you cannot do in the sequence order. So you need other structures also. So those structures are these ones. One is control flow statements, where under control flow statements you have 2 types: selection statements and repetition statements. So today we discussed about selection statements. Under that we learnt about if statements, if conditions. So if conditions are having 3 styles actually. Maybe 30 seconds I can spend quickly because you have to go to the other class also, children. Any questions, children?
No, sir.
Okay,
No,
then
sir.
okay, you take a small break, then I will conclude the class now. Okay, thank you very much. Have
Thank
a
you,
nice
sir.
day, children. Okay, bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, sir.